So it has been said that public speaking is the number one fear for us human beings. It is more fearful than being dead or dying, rather. It is more fearful than heights. It is more fearful than tight spaces. So, how has this number one fear of public speaking come about? Well, I'll tell you a personal story of mine. And some of you may be familiar with this story if you've been connected with me long enough. I have shared this story before. But basically, for me, public speaking and we have had a complicated relationship. It started in college. I had wanted to major in business management. And one of the required courses that I needed to take was public speaking. So I signed up for public speaking. I registered for the course. So I get into the course and I'm sitting in class and I'm learning, taking notes and this and that or whatever for about a week. So then the professor informed us that it was time for us to prepare for our first speech. So needless to say, it was something that I was not looking forward to doing. At the time, I had this overwhelming fear of public speaking, but I felt like at the time, if I wanted to get my business management degree, I had to take this course and I had to complete it and I had to pass it to get credit. So, as I'm preparing for my first speech for this class, that overwhelming fear just took over. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I was dreading the fact that I was about to stand in front of this class and I was going to give my first speech. So from there, what I decided to do was I decided to drop the course, and I proceeded to take the other registered courses that I had. I went ahead and took those, finished out the semester or whatever. So maybe about a year or two later, I decided to register for the public speaking course once again because I needed to complete it and I needed to pass it in order for me to get my business degree, my business management degree. So I registered for the course again, got into the class, and once again, I was sitting there and I was taking notes. And once again, the professor informed us that we had to prepare for our first speech. Once again, as I was preparing for it, I was thinking about giving this speech, and the fear just took over. The fear once again was overwhelming. And guess what I did? I dropped the course. Second time dropping the course. And this time, I didn't register for it. So when I look back on my college journey, I never received my business management degree. And there was a time when I was telling myself, who needs a degree anyways? I can still succeed in life without a college degree. And you know what? I totally agree with that. And I'll tell you that as well. You don't necessarily need a college degree to succeed in life, but it does help. And I'll tell you this, that if you are pursuing a college degree, please do it. Please do it. Keep growing and keep going in regards to that. Keep on striving. Go for it. But going back to what I was saying, I had convinced myself that I didn't need my college degree anyways. But I always wondered, what if? What if I would have finished that public speaking course? What if I would have went through it, passed it, and what if I would have got my college degree in business management? Who knows where I would be right now? Who knows? But it's crazy because I was telling myself that I didn't need the college degree anyways. And I don't need it. But then at the same time, my fear of public speaking had convinced me that I didn't need that college degree. You see, that fear of public speaking psyched me out. It had convinced me. And that's what I went with, right? So again, I look back and say, what if I would have got my college degree? But then let's fast forward a little bit more. I was talking to this lady, and we talk and we have conversations. And she's a really cool lady to talk to. And this is probably in my 30s, somewhere in my mid 30s. I was telling her the goals I want to achieve, the things that I want to do. I want to be better in life, and this or that or whatever. So see, she suggested that I look into taking Toastmasters. Now, I was somewhat familiar with Toastmasters. The main thing that I knew was that it had to do with public speaking. And when she told me that, I didn't want to have anything to do with that. And I told her, I said, you know what? I don't know about that. I'm not sure if that's something I want to do. And she encouraged me. She said, I understand, it's public speaking and it can be, a lot of people make a big deal out of public speaking. But if you want to achieve these goals, if you want to get to where you want to get to, I would encourage you to at least look into it. Public speaking, Toastmasters. So I looked into it. I was doing my research online for different Toastmasters clubs, right? And I end up visiting this club on my side of town and just going into the situation that overwhelming fear took over once again. But you know what I did this time? I actually attended that club. I went in, and actually as I was sitting down, if you're familiar with Toastmasters, it's about public speaking, and one of the things they do is what they call table topics, is that they'll come up with a subject matter for us to discuss, and basically we have to just free flow, freestyle on the topic, right? They'll ask you a question, and you'll have to answer the question off the dome, basically. And since I was a visitor, this is the thing they do. So when you come in as a visitor, they will ask you if you would like to go in front of the room and participate in table topics. I didn't want to do it. And you know what, at the time, I didn't even know that it was going to be to this extent that I would actually have to go in front of the room and speak. I was just coming in, visiting, see what it was all about, see if it was something that I wanted to do. But you know what? When I got in front of that room and I presented, they asked me the question. I don't remember the question at this time. But I actually did pretty good. I did better than I thought I would, considering that it was something that was unexpected. I had no idea I was going to do this. And I still had this overwhelming fear of public speaking. I realized that, hey, maybe this is not as bad as I thought it was for all these many years, from college when I was in my late teens, early 20s, until I got to my mid to late 30s. And so basically, I went at least 20 years thinking that public speaking was this major fear that I thought that I would never overcome. So I went from Toastmasters, and I actually participated in the club for a few months. And from there, sometime after that, I had the opportunity to speak at a black tie gala. Now, the thoughts came back once again, not so much an overwhelming fear, but it was a fear nonetheless. I was overthinking it. I was asked to, present at this gala. And, again, fear was trying to set into my spirit, into my mind. And part of me said I should back out. And another part of me say, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this. And because one of the things was the person who asked me to present at this black tie gala was someone that I highly respected. So I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to back out and, they have to find somebody else, because it was really something that he actually asked me to present at his black tie gala. So I did. And basically all I really had to do was read off the paper. So I was reading during my presentation. I was reading, and I made a mistake. I lost my place in my reading. And part of me felt embarrassed. Part of me felt bad. But then after it was all said and done, I looked at it as a learning lesson. And I told myself, you know what? Okay, I made a mistake. I failed. Basically, that's what I did. I failed. At least that's what I told myself. So what I need to do now is once I get this opportunity, once I get another opportunity, I need to be ready. I need to be better. Because when I looked at it, I wasn't prepared. I went into it and I told myself all I had to do was just read off the paper. But I didn't properly prepare for the situation. And that's why I made a mistake. That's why I failed. So I say all that to say this. We are all faced with a fear. For me, it was public speaking. And some would say that with me being on this video, with me having a podcast, the Growth Times Infinity podcast, and with me being on a YouTube channel, perhaps that's a form of public speaking in a sense. But I've had other opportunities since then to do some public speaking. So I am a continued work in progress in regards to overcoming that fear of public speaking. So what I want to say to you is, there may be a fear that you have that's stopping you in your tracks, that is not allowing you to proceed in your journey in various areas of your personal development. I just want to encourage you to do what you need to do to overcome that fear. And I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you just this one thing, how you can overcome it. You just have to face your fears. That's all you have to do. Because you know who and what created that fear in the first place. It's you. You are the one that created that fear. Because fear seems like this big bully. You know, some of us, we had this bully back in grade school, perhaps middle school, perhaps even high school. We had this bully when we was young lads, when we was younger. And we didn't want to face that bully. We seen this bully walking around the halls, maybe walking around the neighborhood, and we see this big bully, this big massive person, and we told ourselves we do not want to cross paths with this person. We don't want to fight this person. We don't want to get in their space. We don't want to get in their way. We've seen what that big bully has done to others. Maybe this big bully has beaten up someone else in the school, in the neighborhood, and perhaps beat them up real bad. And you telling yourself, I don't want that to be me. Present tense. That's the fear. That big bully represents the fear that you currently have. You looking at your fear, and you may see this big bully. You may see this big wall. You may see this big figure in front of you. That fear. But you know what's on the other side of that fear? Prosperity. The next level. A better life for you. Your blessings is on the other side. All of that is on the other side of the fear. You must overcome your fear. You must conquer your fear. And you must face your fear. Just like that big bully back at school, back in the neighborhood, you seen what that fear did to others. But you know what? You are the one that can conquer that big bully. Test his chin. Don't be afraid to swing. Throw in a throat punch. Throw in a kick. Whatever you got to do. Take action. Face your fears. That's all you got to do. Face it. Don't back down for it. And just like me, once you face that fear and once you achieve what you need to achieve, once you conquer it, you're going to look back and say to yourself, you know what? Out of all these years, I feared doing this. And I did it. And it wasn't that bad. And I'll tell you another fear that I feel like many people don't talk about too much, but I feel like it's up there with public speaking. And it's up there with dying. It's the fear of failure. Regardless of what you're going through in various areas of your personal development, whether it's mental development, whether it's spiritual development, whether it's health and wellness. There is something that we want to do, that we know what we need to do, but we're not going to do it because we fear failure. We ask ourselves, what if I fail? What if it doesn't go right? What if I don't succeed? What if I mess up? It's the fear of failure. You're overthinking. You're psyching yourself out. But failure is a very valuable tool for growth. Remember that. So let's say you do fail. Like I did in public speaking. I had failed when I had, lost my place in my reading at the Black Tie Gala. And I was still fearful. But what I decided to do going forward from that situation was I need to improve myself. I need to properly prepare myself next time. That's the way I looked at it. I could have looked at it the other way. I could have said, you know what? This is what I was talking about. This is why I feared public speaking. This is why I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it anymore. I decided not to look at it from that perspective. I looked at it as a way to improve. And that's what failure should do for you. Just in case you do fail. I'm not going to say whether you're going to fail or not. But if you do fail, take it as a learning lesson, if anything. And find ways to improve on it. Keep attacking fear. Peace and blessings to you as you continue your journey. So let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know. I would love to receive your feedback. Is there anything that you are currently struggling with? Is there something that you are fearful of right now that you can't shake it? That is so overwhelming you don't want to face it? Once again, I want to encourage you to face that fear head on. Go for it. But once again, I would love to receive your feedback. Share with me in the comments if there is indeed something that you are fearing at this current time. Feel free to share it with me in the comments. I would love to have some type of dialogue. If you do post it, I will respond. And hopefully I can, help you out a little bit, bring value to you, encourage you as you go forward in your journey. And if you are currently facing a fear, how are you going about doing that? I would love to receive your feedback in regards to that as well. I am Reggie B, aka the Growth Advocate, and I appreciate you tuning into this episode of the Growth Times Infinity podcast. And until the next time, keep growing and keep going.